I like to think of the sacrament of Holy Confession as the sacrament and moment that we will all get a little bit of encouragement. Because really, as I understand from all my readings, from all my studies, from all my life as a monk, that really the only thing Christ wanted to do by coming to the earth is to encourage us through this stage of eternity. The Gheronda, to this spiritual son who was a slave but had perfect obedience, he said, "Go, my son, and turn on the oven where they made their breads, and take that book that we read in the church, and I want you to throw it in the oven." That's a big test. Ekinos, that brother, πήγε και το έκανε χωρίς δισταγμό. He went immediately, without hesitating, and did it. Και μόλις έριξε το βιβλίο, έσβησε ο φούρνος. As soon as he threw it in the oven went out. True obedience. When we follow the directions of a spiritual guide, it's going to be blessed. I've experienced it, tested it all my life. And from my own, sometimes not doing what my Gheronda told me, and hopefully more than that, doing what my Gheronda tells me, and it's always been blessed. Κάθε αμαρτία αμετανόητη. A mortal sin is every sin for which we are not repentant. That's beautiful, very nicely said, but that's not the end of it. Κανείς δεν είναι τόσο αγαθός και σπλαχνικός όσο ο Θεός. There's no one who is as good and compassionate as God. Όμως εκείνον που δεν μετανοεί, ούτε αυτός τον συγχωρεί. The reason for sin is what we want to get to. It's like a sickness. You know, we have a sickness, but finding the root of the problem is what's important. In other words, my shoulder may hurt, but why? And then if we have a good doctor and he asks, what do you do and what don't you do? And you sit in your office like this, or do you always use this arm instead of that one? Whatever it might be, to find the reason. And so the sin also has a reason. And that's why we go to the spiritual father, so that what he has learned and what he's read and what he's experienced in his life as a good spiritual physician, he may confer to you and say, well, what is the reason for this? Abba Iakovos said, ότι από το να δέχεσαι ξένους είναι ανώτερο το να γίνεις ξένος. Για χάρη του Θεού. Μαρία and Κώστα, το διάλεξε για σας. Says here, Abbas Iakovos said, to receive guests is higher than becoming a foreigner or a stranger for the grace of God. Philoxenia, how high the virtue of hospitality is. Philoxenia. Ευχαριστούμε. You know, and that reminds me, maybe it's a blessing to them also, and it's true, you know, let us not forget ever that we are guests of God. Guests actually have a higher responsibility than those who might be the homeowners, because they have to be careful, respectful. They don't know the ways of the house, so they're more careful. And if we remain in our thoughts as guests upon the earth, won't we be more careful? Won't we be better people? Because if we just think we own the place, we'll be a little bit sloppy. Παιδαγωγήστε τα παιδιά, αδελφοί, για να μην σας παιδέψουν αυτά. Train and teach your children, brethren, educate them, so that later on they won't be training and educating you. It happens so often. That's where some parents overdo the love side and don't respect that their children are made in the image and likeness of God, and they need to be respected as such and raised to learn to fear God and to love God and to be His children. They don't know, they're just kids. So they overdo the love, το παιδί μου, δεν χρειάζεται, να είναι καλά το παιδί, να μην κάνει τίποτα, and before you know, the child is 14 years old and says, bye-bye. Γι' αυτό λένε και οι πατέρες, till the child is 12 or 13, talk to it a lot about Christ, about Panagia, and put in at things of the church. And then afterwards, talk to Christ and Panagia about the child. In other words, teach them all about Christ and Panagia when they're growing up. And then after they're 14-year-olds, pray for them a lot on their own. If you follow that prescription, it works out well. One line. Είπε κάποιος γέροντας, αυτή η φωνή κράζει στον άνθρωπο ως την τελευταία του πνοή. Σήμερα να επιστρέψεις. Today, return. Return today. Καλό είναι αυτό. Το κάλεσμα του Θεού. Every day is a new opportunity to give ourselves over to God. Every day. We shouldn't pass up the chance. Καλό, πολύ καλό.